Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Liam McCall, and today I want to let you guys know that I just discovered a new awesome hobby of mine. It is called vintage lens collecting. With me being a filmmaker and photographer, it's not actually surprising that I'm wanting to collect these pristine lenses from the past. I just recently sparked interest in it because you could very well be picking up lenses that were considered cutting edge technology back 20, 30, maybe even 50 years ago. And now with these Sony Alpha line of cameras, we have the ability to adapt these lenses with cheap adapters like this, and we can put them on the new digital sensors of today. And the results that people are getting out of this stuff is absolutely astonishing. So I personally think the best part about using these lenses is the fact that they kind of bring out your inner creativity. You see, if you were to go pick up one of these vintage lenses today, no two copies are gonna be identical, meaning they're all gonna have their different flaws with vignetting, edge-to-edge sharpness, flaring, the list goes on. But to me, that gives the lenses character, meaning your photographs are gonna receive that as well. I find it really beautiful whenever you find, vignetting or some of the, like edge softness in these photos, because it just looks really interesting, because it's so different from what we see today. Everybody wants 4K, Ultra HD, sharpness, this and that. I'm not gonna lie, this lens cannot compare to my G Masters as far as just straight up quality goes, but what it does have is character. Now, not everyone is gonna agree with this, but I personally think that these lenses kind of bring the meaning back into photography, at least for me, because we get so wrapped up in, flash bulbs and, the zooming in on the model, the fast autofocus and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, guys, I absolutely love it. But with these lenses here, it kind of brings fun back into photography because you gotta manually focus, you gotta manually adjust your iris, you gotta manually do everything. And it's really neat because, this is what the photographers had to use, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Everything was full manual, and to me, I like a challenge, and that's something that I'm getting out of these lenses. Okay, so now I'm gonna tell you guys specifically about the lens that I have in my hand right here. This is the Helios 44 version 2 Russian Soviet lens. Now, this lens, based off the naming convention, you would assume it's a 44 millimeter, but no. In all of these Helios lenses, the naming convention is whack on all of them. This is actually a 58 millimeter f2 lens. This is a very popular lens. If you guys Google the keywords swirly bokeh effect, this is probably the lens that's getting it done. It was actually a manufacturing flaw, a design flaw or whatever with the inside element glass. And it's one of those things where now it's kind of sought after because kind of like what I said earlier about, lenses having their character and stuff like that. People recognize this and they're like, man, how do you do that? Is that a Photoshop technique or whatever? And whenever this lens started popping up, all of a sudden everybody wants to buy it. And speaking of purchasing, this is not an expensive lens to buy. You can pick this lens up in all different kind of conditions off eBay, anywhere from the $30 to $100 range. I actually got this lens brand new for $65. Now, it's technically used because it has a previous owner, but it's been in the box the whole time. There was not even a single scratch, not even the threads in the back. It didn't even show that they've ever been screwed into a camera. So this was actually kind of a prize right here. Now, obviously, with these lenses, you're gonna have to adapt them to your camera with adapters like so. This is the, I believe it's pronounced Neewer M42, the NEX adapter. So all of the Helios lenses come in, I believe, 3 different variations of the mount. The mount that I chose to stick with, and it seems to be the most used mount, is the M42 mount, which has these screws on the rear end of the lens, and you just simply screw it into your adapter. And since this is going to an E-mount body, then I just place that in my camera. This lens is really cool. It's a very compact lens. You know, whenever I was looking at the photos of it on eBay, I actually thought it was gonna be quite a bit bigger, but no, it's actually a super compact lens. Sure, the adapter does kind of beef it up a little bit, but it's still a very cool lens to walk around and maybe even go traveling with. If there's any beginner filmmakers or photographers watching this video and you guys are looking to invest in a new glass or something like that, before you do, you might want to consider purchasing some of these vintage lenses. It's actually a very viable option if you think about it, especially on the filmmaking side. For the most part, you're going to be doing manual focus pulling anyways. And honestly, not a lot of photography lenses actually have the adjustable clickless iris like this lens does. That just might be something to consider because you guys could pick up an entire vintage set for a few $100 to whereas, you know, if you're trying to invest in some of the, you know, Canon L glass, the Nikkor or the G Masters or whatever, you're gonna be spending thousands of dollars. So just something to consider if you guys are wanting to invest in something cheap that's gonna last and something that's kind of cool to look at. It gives your image a very interesting end result. All right, so now you guys probably want to see what this lens can actually do in the field. So I walked outside today, got a couple test shots, also took some photos so you guys could see the swirly bokeh effect that this lens gives. Go ahead and take a look. So that should give you a little taste of, you know, what you can expect from a vintage lens on like a Sony a7R II. I didn't do any hardcore, you know, color grading or anything there. All I did was pretty much just like color match to make sure, you know, the video clips pushed together nicely. Now, I wanted to let you guys know what kind of future purchases I have in store here. So I have the Helios 44-2 right here. That's the only vintage lens I own right now. But I plan on getting 2 more in the Helios line. And I also eventually plan on getting some Canon FD L glass, some of the Jupiter lenses, and the Minolta MD/MC lenses. So next up is probably gonna be the Helios 40 version 2. That is the 85mm f1.4 lens. And then I plan on getting the Helios 98. And that is a 28mm f2.8. So after that, I'll then, you know, probably try to get some of the Jupiter lenses, the Canon FD. So that pretty much wraps up the video. If you enjoyed the video that you just watched, give it a thumbs up. And if you like the channel and the content that I'm pushing out to you guys, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that I can push out more content to you guys. If there's anything you guys want me to push out in the future, just shoot me a message on my website or down below and I'll be able to get back with you guys on that, all right? So just get out there, start shooting, and have fun, all right? Take it easy. My name's Lane McCall.